We have a ton of betting information coming your way. It's Tuesday. You're watching WagerTalk Today, and we've got Bryan Leonard joining us first. He's going to look at the North Texas-Oklahoma State game, and he's going to give us a winning bet on the Golden Knights versus the Wild. Plus, it's time to talk baseball betting. Bryan is one of the best baseball bettors on the planet, and he's got some advice for us. Stay with us to hear that. We're also going to talk soccer with Pavlos. We're going to talk cricket with Paul Motty, and we're going to look at the Canadian government. The election is upcoming. The odds are out. How can we make money off of that? We got Andy Lang as well and the great Gianni The Greek to end the show. A jam-packed Wager Talk today. I'm Lawrence Pressman. It's $5 Tuesday over at Wager Talk. Let's get to it. Bryan Leonard, welcome, my friend. How have you been?
I've been great. The big dance has been great to me. 7-0 so far in the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
Fortunately, we're going to take a look at the NIT on today's card, as that doesn't start up until Thursday. Yeah, it's been perfect. A lot of underdogs winning outright. Can't complain at all about that. But let's take a look at this North Texas-Oklahoma State game tonight. The Mean Green interplay at 26-8 on the season, 15-5 in the American Conference. They had beaten Furman and Arkansas State at home to get here. And when looking at their season-to-date play, the Mean Green have performed better on the road than they have at home. According to Evan Maya's website, North Texas has the best three players in this game when looking at Bayesian power ratings. In fact, the Mean Green have the more talented player throughout the lineup. The problem is that their strength of schedule is 148th, while the Cowboys are 66th. That's the big difference here, and one of the reasons why we're making our selection in this one. Oklahoma State, 17-17 on the year, but just 7-14 in the Big 12. They knocked off Wichita State and SMU to get here, and the Mustangs, being by far the best club either of these teams have faced in this tournament, they won that game on the road, so that's really, really impressive for Oklahoma State here. They played the best ball at home so far this season. They've been better at home than on the road. Tempo is a major factor in this one, as the Cowboys like to run while they're with their 22nd ranked tempo, while North Texas really slows it down, 363rd in true tempo. So this game looks to have a correlated outcome, either North Texas to the under or Oklahoma State to the over. I'm pretty confident because of the strength of schedule that Oklahoma State can dictate the pace here. So I'm going to play this game over the total. It's gone up about a point since I put it out as a free play for my clients, but I like it. It's up to about 138 and a half. Oklahoma State playing home is going to try to run them out of the stadium, and I think they'll have success doing that. The line, slight lean with Oklahoma State.
There we go. Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. 7-0 in March Madness. Better than my 7-3, that's for sure. Make sure to check his Thursday and Friday bets out. Bryan, let's turn our attention to NHL, and you are the most profitable NHL bettor ever amongst all the Wager Talk guys, so congratulations for that. Vegas is playing Minnesota tonight, and the road team Vegas is around -200 to -190. Look, this Vegas team has won 3 in a row. They really are good. But they're playing a Minnesota team that is only 2 games worse than them. 42 wins for Vegas, 40 for Minnesota. And this Minnesota team has come off a loss against Dallas. Last time they lost to a team, St. Louis, they beat the LA Kings 3-1. The time before that, they lost to Pittsburgh. They came back and beat Colorado 2-1. I don't know where you're going here, but I got to think there's value on Minnesota in the spot.
Well, first of all, you had mentioned it's $5 Tuesday, Customer Appreciation Day. We do have our 4% play up right now for only $5 on the site. It's not in this game. It's the only play we released for our clients, but I think there may be some value in this game, as you pointed out. Heading into tonight's slate, we're looking at the Wild for the last 30 days in 5-on-5 play. They come in at 49.24. Vegas comes in at 52.06, but that's been that power play for Vegas, which has been tremendous as of late. Take a look at the records on the season. The Golden Knights own a +48 year-to-date net goal advantage in this one. Minnesota's been a bit lucky in that regard when you take a look at their season record. But Vegas is only 4-10 straight up on the road as of late. They've struggled on the road. They did look great in this homestand that just completed. The offense looked really good in the Fortress, but they have not played well offensively on the road. Minnesota has dropped both earlier meetings in this series, and this is the second game, as you mentioned, of the back-to-back for the Wild. Weird scheduling for the Wild here. They are in the middle of 10 of 11 games being played at home. They go to Dallas last night for a quickie, and then they come back at home here to play Vegas. It's kind of a weird schedule. I didn't see that happen very times this year. Important situation for Vegas. They're going to be without Tomas Hertl, who didn't make the trip because of the injury. If you watched the last game, controversial call near the end of the game where he got pushed into the boards. He's got some shoulder problems, so he's not going to be playing. Didn't even make the trip. That's a huge offensive loss because he's been just terrific in recent play. He's had like 3 goals and hat tricks in like 2 of the last 4 games. I mean, he's just been leading this offense. Without him there, that's going to be a big differential tonight. I prefer this game to go under. The goaltending in Vegas has been excellent. They are going to have their best goaltender on the ice tonight. Minnesota, if you take a look at their games at home, last 3 games at home, they've given up a total of 2 goals. So this game's listed at 5.5. I like the under here, but I could not disagree, or excuse me, I could not agree more with your Minnesota side, but I prefer the under. Maybe play Vegas team total under, maybe the best play out of it all, but this is going to be a tough play for Vegas here. Minnesota's second of the back-to-back, but they are playing back at home, which have been very good lately.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. Bryan, before we get into some baseball betting tips, what do you have to promote?
Like I said, I've got the 4% play going on today for only $5, but they were nice enough to make a nice coupon for me today for Major League Baseball. You can get our baseball for the entire season, and you can get that right now, and you can save $200. MLB 200 knocks $200 off our Major League Baseball season all the way through the World Series. Number 1 lifetime at WagerTalk and MLB net profit. If you take the last 2 years combined, number 1 in MLB net profit. I've been working on baseball for 2 months already. I love baseball and hockey, or where I get all my profit. And we've had a lot of success there. So, yeah, if you're looking for baseball, starts on Thursday, and we're getting loaded up for that right now.
Well, you like the Jays coming into this year? They have 4 assets to trade at the deadline that could basically restructure their team for another decade. I mean, come on. Can you imagine picking up Gosman, Bassett, Scherzer, Bereas? They trade them all. They got a whole new team moving forward.
They could trade them all, and it won't make one difference because none of those guys anybody else wants. That's the problem. The Jays just are not a very good team. They've got to sign the first baseman, obviously. If he's not there, nobody's going to want to come there because they're not going to look like they're shopping their players. So it's just a situation. I don't like the Jays at all this year. I'm sorry to say. I know you're from Toronto. I expect them to come in last place in that division and fight it out with Tampa. But not a Jays fan this year. But I do like some of the younger guys that made the lineup this year. So we'll have to see what happens.
Bryan Leonard. Bryan, let's get into some betting tips for the upcoming baseball season. And just to let you know, I could care less about the Blue Jays. You got 4 tips you want to talk to us about: handicapping beyond the starting picture, bullpen usage, home and road dichotomy, and looking at baseball base stats instead of results. Let's get into it. I'll just be quiet and learn from you.
All right. First thing you look at, if you talk to the general public and they pick their baseball games, they all base it on the starting pitcher. That's a mistake a lot of beginners make, is they expect the guy to go 6 innings, and they figure that's 2/3 of the ball game, and that's all they need to worry about. The problem is, in Major League Baseball, you have 10 different pitchers during a normal season because of injuries and because of spots in the schedule, where you've got 10 different starting pitchers for just about every team that you have to handicap. And especially early in the season, like now, where we saw that in the Japan series, where the starters are not going to go long in those games. And in fact, we've talked. There's been a lot of talk this year about Major League Baseball. A lot of the teams going to 6-man rotations, so the starters are not going to be going nearly as long in these games, and that's something you have to take into account. So there's a lot more than just looking at starting pitchers and offenses to handicap baseball. Keep in mind, you got to do a little bit more work than that. Bullpen usage. Bullpen is huge in Major League Baseball anymore. Just look at Cleveland last year. Fantastic bullpen, took them all the way to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden, after all those 60 and 80 inning bullpen guys just got tired at the end of the year. You've got to keep an eye on the bullpen before you handicap any game. See who's going to be available for that night's game as opposed to their normal rotation. Some teams won't play their closer 2 games in a row. We're going to see that out of Baltimore this year. Excellent closer, but he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He won't pitch every game. So pay attention to who's available in the bullpen and who is expected to pitch in that game. Also, home run dichotomy. Obviously, the Colorado Rockies are the biggest one of these as you take a look at Major League Baseball. They've been pretty good at home because the reason is in the altitude of Colorado. The breaking balls just don't break enough. So all they do is sit back and wait for fastballs. Well, that's great at home, but when they go on the road, they can't adjust to the breaking pitches. And that's why Colorado is always good at home, terrible on the road. Something to keep in mind. It's just not Colorado. A lot of the other teams are that way. And I'm looking at, base stats instead of results. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking at, if you just look at the box score of a game, you're going to see what happened in that game. But go back, give it a harder look. If a guy is in a slump, go back and look how hard he's hitting the ball. Look at the angles he's hitting the ball at. If he's hitting it into the ground, if you got a power hitter who's hitting the ball into the ground too much, that's a guy that you want to bet against in your props. That's a guy that you don't expect to hit any home runs. He's in a bad situation. You wouldn't know that just by looking at the box score. So you got to go a little bit deeper when you're looking at any of the stats in Major League Baseball. There's so many of them out there. You could find them very easily. And also don't forget about when teams bring their batters out, lefty-righty situations. I didn't write that down, but it's just something to take a look at. A lot of teams just play certain guys against lefties, certain guys against righties. You got to get that information down before you do any baseball handicapping.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. What an outstanding segment, Bryan. Some really good tips on the baseball stuff. I love that home road dichotomy. Outstanding work. Best of luck in your NHL and your college basketball 7-0 start to the madness. And, of course, in your baseball season. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Bryan freaking Leonard. What a great segment. Okay, guys, let's keep moving the show along. We've got soccer bets coming your way, and we've got some cricket discussion. Plus, who's going to win the Canadian election? There's a lot of money to be made in betting election odds, and we've got an expert to discuss that, plus Andy Lang and Gianni The Greek. Let's keep the show moving along. Pavlos, my friend, how have you been?
Doing great. It's actually the Greek Independence Day today, 25th of March. I was out celebrating. I came back home to do this segment, and I'll go out again. It's been going pretty well in the last couple of days. We just won a match in the World Cup qualifiers in the Asian. Now we got World Cup qualifiers in South America. And there's a huge match taking place at 8 p.m. Eastern. Argentina are playing host to Brazil, which is probably the hugest match, the biggest match that's ever happened. Not only in South America, but in world soccer. Now, it's also a very hateful match, so don't expect a lot of goals, but expect a lot of cards and maybe a draw here. Now, right now, Argentina are sitting first in the 10-team qualifier group in South America with 28 points. They have already qualified to the World Cup in 2026. Brazil are sitting third with 21 points. They just need a couple of more points to mathematically ensure that they will also go to the World Cup next year, which is going to be in the summer. It's going to be really, really amazing. Now, right now, Argentina are +1 favorites at home. The draw is at +200. Brazil are +250 underdogs on the road. The Asian spread is set at 0.25, and the Asian total is set at 2, maybe 1.75, depending on where you look. Now, right off the bat, both teams are missing key players. I'm going to start off with Argentina. There is no Lionel Messi, so don't expect to see any fireworks there. No Lautaro Martinez. These are two of their best forwards. They still have a lot of talent there, but these two are not there. Brazil are also missing some key players, mainly their goalkeeper, starting goalkeeper Alisson, who plays for Liverpool. He was injured in the previous match against Colombia. There is no Ederson from Man City, who is also injured. So, but they still have some nice goalkeepers at the bench. But they do have a couple of crucial absences in the midfield and in the defense, because Arsenal's centre-back Gabriel and Newcastle's midfielder Bruno Guimaraes, they were both suspended in the previous match and are unavailable in this one against Argentina. Now, this is a matchup that rarely rarely produces a lot of goals. Now, 5 of the last 6 head-to-head matches in the last decade went to the under 2.5 goals, and each of the last 3 since 2021, they went to the under 1.5 goals. So they're either 0 goals or just 1 goal. These two also played 3 friendlies in that span. All 3 went to the under 1.5 goals. So again, this is a matchup that rarely produces a lot of goals anymore, as these two they consider themselves the best teams in South America, and they primarily look to not lose against their arch rivals. That's why we see a lot of cards and very few goals. Now, the question whether these two will qualify is not even a question. They will qualify. And one might think that, listen, this is a match between Argentina and Brazil. They have a lot of firepower. Let's smash the over. No, there is a reason the line is at 2, maybe 1.75. Because historically these two do not produce a lot of goals against one another. They're going to play cat and mouse. They're going to look to primarily avoid the loss. There is no qualification, thing here to chase. They just want to avoid the loss against the arch rival. So a draw is also quite possible. The last 2 head-to-head matches in Argentina were both draws, and most recently that happened in 2021, almost 4 years ago, and that was actually Argentina's last draw at home. So they went 4 years of playing through qualifiers and whatnot without a draw at home. So maybe take a look at the draw at plus 200, but I don't see a lot of goals here. Again, these two will play cat and mouse and will primarily look to avoid losing. So I'm going to take 2%. This is actually a client play of mine. You can find the full breakdown at my page, wt.buzz/pl. I'm going 2 units on the under 2 goals, minus 137. It's a bit chalky. Line good to minus 150. If you can't find that, you can take just 1 unit on the under 1.75 goals, or even half a unit on the draw, because I think this is going to be a very, very tight match.
Pavlos, that was wonderful, man. Great stuff. What do you have to promote?
I have a $5 4% best bet for Sunday. You can get that until the end of the day for just $5. We're on a 22-11 run in 4% releases since December, plus 36 units. Of course, you can use code SOC7 to get 7 days of soccer for just $49. The MLS just started, and we got, of course, a full MLS match day this weekend. And, of course, the Copa Libertadores and the Copa Sudamericana, which are essentially the Champions and the Europa League of South America, are starting exactly a week from now. So if you get 7 days of soccer, you'll also get the first bunch of plays that are taking place on Tuesday. And, of course, we got a full weekend in soccer across Europe. So it's a really good chance to get, 7 days of soccer for just $49, and you get all plays for a bunch of leagues. And of course, the $5 play, which takes place on Sunday.
Brilliant stuff. Pavlos Laguretos, everybody, one of the best soccer bettors out there. Thanks for doing this, my brother. Let's keep this show moving along. Andy Lang joining us. Andy, how you been?
Oh, man, doing great. I had a cool moment yesterday. Can I tell you about my cool moment?
Of course, brother.
Okay, so a few years ago, I started my bankroll with $4,000. We built it up, and last year I was able to take my winnings and put it on a down payment on an investment property for our business. We renovated it up, and we just got the appraisal in yesterday, and we made a nice chunk of money. So I was able to take a $4,000 bankroll, turn that into some winnings, turn that into a down payment on an investment property. So you know what? Life is good, man. I'm celebrating today.
Wonderful stuff. I love that. Congratulations. Let's get into some money-making opportunities for our listeners. By the way, guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a second out of your day and please hit that like button. Thank you very much. Andy, K, we got another KCP. Let's go.
You know, you got to be willing to adjust in this industry. We've talked about Contavious Caldwell-Pope and his three-pointers, and we were taking the unders. Guess what? It's time to take the overs. We're going to take KCP over 1.5 made threes. He's out of his shooting slump, and he is on a hot streak. He's gone over in 5 straight games. He's now attempting 5.6 three-point attempts per game, and he's hitting 2.6 of them. He's shooting 51.2% from threes in the last 5 games, and now he gets a dream matchup in Charlotte, who's 20th in three-point defense. So you ride the streaks, Prez. We were cashing on his unders. Let's start cashing on his overs.
Wow. I love that you've made this adjustment, Andy. What about UFC? Ronaldo Rodriguez against Kevin Borges.
Yeah, if you remember Sam Hughes, Prez, what did we say about Sam Hughes? That she's got that dog in her, right? Well, Ronaldo Rodriguez, this is another guy that just has that dog in him. This guy is something else. So he's had 19 professional fights, and he's only 25 years old. Prez, his first professional fight was when he was 17 years old. He wasn't even of legal age. So he fights when he's 17, and he wins his first 4 fights as a teenager. Now he's 25. He's fought 19 fights. He's won 17 of them. He's never been finished, and he's 2-0 in the UFC, and he's just coming off of a war where Odi Osbourne had him in so many submissions, and he got out of all of them. He's been rocked, and he doesn't get knocked out. He fights back, and he come back and beat Odi Osbourne, and now he gets Kevin Borjas. Remember, Prez, this UFC card is UFC Mexico, so they kind of give the Mexican fighters some pretty good matchups. And Borjas is 0-2 in the UFC. His striking is not that good. He does not have that great of a ground game. And Ronaldo Rodriguez is going to fight every single second. He's going to be too much for Borjas. So look for Ronaldo Rodriguez to get the win here. And I'd lock this in quick because the line has already started moving. That's why I wanted to talk about it on Tuesday.
Andy Lang joining us, everyone. Andy, it's a $2 Tuesday, and you have a 5% play up. You're 7-1 this year in these plays. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, firing away another 5% play. We're coming off of a disappointing week, but Prez, we went back and looked. We've had 14 winning months out of the last 17. It's a pretty incredible streak, and we're 7-1 in 5% plays in 2025. So when we release a 5% play, these things have been cashing. Love the card. It sets up beautifully this weekend. It's discounted today down to $5. So WT.buzz/AL. Let's cash another 5% winner, and let's keep the winnings coming in, Prez. Let's make enough to buy another investment property.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations again, Andy Lang. Wonderful stuff. Andy, that's it, brother. What else do you have to talk? Only two speaking points?
Yeah, only 2 talking points. I will tell you, my wife and I were going to watch a movie the other night, and instead she was like, let's watch Temptation Island. So my wife and I we got high and watched Temptation Island, and I have not laughed that hard in forever. Like, we just had a blast. You cannot watch that show sober, but boy, you smoke a little bit, watch Temptation Island, you are going to have an absolute blast. I swear, Prez, it was one of the hardest I've laughed in a long time.
There we go. I will not be watching that show, but thanks for telling me, Andy Lang, everyone. We're going to see you tomorrow. Yeah, be good. Andy Lang. Okay, let's keep this show moving along. We've got Paul Motty joining us, everyone. And Paul Motty is a cricket expert. Let's start right there, Paul. How are you, and how has your cricket been going?
I'm good. Well done for getting the name right. Yeah, great start. So we're 37% up on the first 4 matches in IPL. There's just landed another winner, actually, just as we speak on today's game. But I'll update the maths on that later. Yeah, the IPL started very, very well. as you know, I put out 9 free picks for the start of the tournament for outright markets, and I'm going to update them as we go along. And I've got a new one to add to that already. So we've seen all the teams once, and to me, there's a clear poor side in there. Look now, Super Giants. So you can get 7-2, 3 plus 350. Look now, Super Giants to finish bottom. To my mind, they're going to be at most in the third from bottom, and they could end up tailed off. Watching them yesterday, they have completely ripped up their side. Right, they had a solid side that wasn't quite good enough, but it could have got somewhere with a couple of big signings. They've just ripped the whole side up and replaced it with this really odd lineup of impressive overseas batsmen, but really terrible bowlers. Failed to defend 209 yesterday despite loads of early wickets. I think they'll end up tailed off. So that's my free pick, 2% play there at plus 350.
Sorry, guys. Paul, you've got a cricket guide up for everybody. Let's talk about that. A lot of our listeners are not familiar with betting cricket on a regular basis. So where do they get this guide and what is in it?
So it's on my page, and you can download it directly from there. And really I cover from the basics, from simply explaining what the 3 formats of cricket are, which are the long format, Test cricket, 50 overs, and T20, which is the thing on at the moment that's on most of the year, to be honest, these days. T20, that's the quick version. It's a 4-hour game. I explain what kind of things you can bet on. I mean, there's dozens, even hundreds of markets to choose from every game. So I list the main ones there and explain them. And then for the more, advanced better, I've got some more complicated betting strategies, things that work, things that have worked consistently over the years, ways and means to bet cricket either pre-match or in play. And in play is a really big deal with cricket. I would say, in fact, that is where more of the action takes place.
Paul Motty, let's talk some Canadian betting, and I don't like what I'm seeing here, bro. It looks like Mark Carney, who is the incumbent, he took over for Justin Trudeau as the head of the Liberal Party, is now favored at minus 140, and Pierre Poilievre, who I hope wins, there you go, now there's my political thoughts, is now a dog at plus 110. I'm really hoping that that's wrong and that there's a whole lot of value on PP. Tell us what is going on there and who do you think we should bet?
Well, as you say, Carney's just taken over. I think that, if you looked at the market 2 months ago, it was very, very one-sided to the Conservatives. But what it would seem, given what has happened in the polls, etc., is that was more about a dissatisfaction with Justin Trudeau, maybe the fact that Liberals have been in power for a long time, because since Carney took over, there's been a big, big polling shift. And if you take today's 338 Canada projection, which goes through each seat, they've got Liberals winning the majority. They've got them on 185. You need 173 seats to win it. So on that basis, I would be betting Carney and I'd be betting a Liberal majority. Because, of course, for Carney to win, they could fall short. They could end up 6 or 7 short, 166, 167, and the NDP would push them over the line in some kind of supply and confidence arrangement. But having said that, it's not unheard of at all for leaders to just get this very short-term honeymoon polling bounce. He's only just taken over. He's been in the news a lot. He's got somewhat of a different brand from what I can tell from Trudeau. And I know Carney from over here because he was governor of the Bank of England. So it's possible that flips around and that lead disintegrates. But at the moment, it does certainly, for my money, point to Carney.
Well, I got to disagree with you on this, my friend, mainly because I'm totally subjective, but also because I really don't see the Liberals winning in this election, this upcoming election. I think it'll change at the end, and I actually do think that there is a lot of value on Pierre Poilievre now as a dog. Is there anything else? It's $5 Tuesday. Do you have a play up for our clients?
I do, yeah. So I've got a my pick is tomorrow's game in Rajasthan v Kolkata. It's a player performance bet. It's a player that I've had on my mind for a long time, up and coming star. Hasn't got a lot of IPL experience, but I think he's going places. And if you've been backing this guy the last few months, you'd have made 71% return on your money. So I'm sticking with him. And just to mention also that we've still got the season pass cricket offer going here. So this is $599 for the whole cricket season. That's a whole year. And bear in mind that there's cricket on most days of the year. And as you can see so far, I'm putting up 3-4 trades every match. So you're talking comfortably less than $1 a play here. You know, really 50 cents a play, more a bit closer. And as I say, we've had a good start, 37% up, going into Spain, just had another winner.
There we go. Paul, thank you for doing this, man. Really appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but the best with your bets, brother. Kick ass, my friend, and we'll speak to you next week. We got Gianni The Greek still to come, everybody. I'm going to race down the NHL board for you all, of course. And also to let you know, the great, the wonderful, the incredible, the awesome Andy Lang will be hosting WagerTalk Today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Let's get into the whole board. Okay, so we got a lot of NHL games going tonight. There's a lot of value in a bunch of them. It's 4%. It's a $2 Tuesday, and I actually have a 4% play up for this coming for tonight. Sorry, it's 4%. A little bit flustered right now. Anyway, it's $4 Tuesday. I got a $5 Tuesday. I got a 4% play up in NHL tonight. I absolutely freaking love this play. We had a 4% play last Tuesday as well, and it won easily. I love this one just the same. So let's get into the Carolina-Nashville game. Carolina minus 280 here. I find no value in this game whatsoever. Don't love the spot for Carolina, but I'm not going to bet Nashville. This is a horrible Nashville team, and they have lost 4 of their last 5 games. If I had to bet this game, I would take under the total of 5.5. Buffalo is playing Ottawa. I like the over in this game, guys. I like the over in most Buffalo games. I think there's going to be a lot of speed on the ice. Over 6 is the total for me. I like the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game in regulation and minus 1.5. I like Tampa Bay over Pittsburgh in regulation and minus 1.5 as well. I think there's value on Montreal plus 135 against St. Louis. I like Minnesota plus 165 against Vegas. I like Winnipeg a lot tonight at minus 150. I like the over in the Colorado-Detroit game. I like Calgary against Seattle. And I like the under in the New York Rangers-LA Kings game. That's it for me. Gianni The Greek joining us. How are you, my friend?
Never better, brother. Never better. Just firing on some NBA action, a little college basketball. Same old, nothing new. Everything I shared as far as the Sweet 16, nothing's changed since then. But we did get some NBA, and also real quickly in college basketball tonight, 616 Cleveland State, minus 4.5. That's so far, that's pretty much the only college basketball game. It's mostly NBA, and a lot of totals, which I explained so many times here. If you agree with it and there's still value on the board, fire away. If you're not sure and you want to confirm whether it's a legit move, then you got to wait it out and see if it's manipulation. I explained so many times how that happens because the limits are low overnight. Check the lines at Odds Logic, or at the very least at the WagerTalk odds screen. See the opener, see where it's at now. and then see if it's prime for manipulation, meaning if they started betting it last night when the limits are lower, then it should fall in the category where this is possible manipulation. If they bet it this morning, it's less probable. But you still want to look later and see, does the resistance come, or more or less the buyback come, which appears like resistance, but it's actually more times than not the real side coming in a little bit later, because these lines just move so much. I mean, you had Art on here many times talking about just how the NBA totals move so much. It's difficult. You know, they set themselves up for a lot of middles. And if you can move a total 4 or 5 points and you only got to lay minus 110 both ways, you got plus EV middles all day. So there's a lot of that going on as we await baseball, where that's the bread and butter for most of these syndicates. Like I said, everyone I work with that does my baseball, they all are asking for more accounts to be prepared for opening day.
Gianni, I love it. Baseball right around the corner. Dude, we got college hoops. Not much, but there is college hoops tonight. Same with a full NBA slate and a ton of NHL. What are the syndicates betting out there?
All right. I shared the Cleveland State and NBA. 564, Detroit minus 9.5 and 10. 565 over to 11, 11.5 to 12. Orlando, Charlotte. 567, Golden State minus the 4.5 and 5, and the under 218 and 217.5 against Miami. So it's Golden State and the under. 570, New York Knicks minus 7.5, minus 8, and came back. It laid the 8.5. 571 over 231.5 through 232.5 in Atlanta and Houston. 574 under 242, 241 Memphis, Utah, and finally 575 over 230, 231 Oklahoma City, Sacramento. And keep in mind that Golden State game. It's usually opposite of what a lot of recreational bettors do, but I see this from the betting syndicates all the time. When they're betting favorites, and the correlation is more with the unders than the overs. A lot of times you get most of the recreational bettors, if they're going to lay points, for the team to cover, they think it's going to go over. You know, you go favorite and over. But I see more times than not when they bet a favorite, whether it's NBA, whether it's NFL, they'll tie it in with the under more than they do with the over, which you would think is contradictory. But it's going against a lot of the over bias, I think. And you usually get a better number anyway with a lot of these unders. So don't be afraid if you're laying points that you think you got to bet the game over, even double digits. A double-digit favorite a lot of times is going to cover because they play great defensively, and you need 2 teams to score for an over. I can't stress that enough. If you're just depending on side A to get you over, it's rarely going to happen. I mean, it does happen, but more times than not, you need both teams to score for an over, and that's why I see a lot of times they'll bet the under with these favorites.
There we go. Gianni The Greek, everyone. Blackjack. What else is going on in your world, brother?
Class number two. We're going to review last week, make sure everybody did what they were supposed to, answer any questions they have since class 1. And then tonight is the introduction to counting. They're actually going to take the next step to actually becoming an advantage player. Last week, I told them how to be a break-even player. How to walk into the casino, find the right game. With comps, you could play for free. You're not going to make money, but you're not going to lose money either. And you could take advantage of comps. There's certain games you can do that easily and be a break-even player without much effort. But today, we're going to start becoming the favorites by teaching them the card counting system that I used, and even offer up a couple different ones that I benefited from in the past, that anybody is more interested in taking it to a next level. If they're playing, single, double deck, some of the higher multi-level counts are a little bit more beneficial for playing decisions. So yeah, really excited for tonight's class because it's step 1 into becoming an advantage player.
Gianni The Greek, everyone. Outstanding stuff. It's $5 Tuesday. And guys, if you've never purchased from us before, today is a perfect day. It's only $5 for a featured play.
Sweet 16 for Friday. Already up 4%. for $5. So that's up and ready to go.
Well, there you go. I don't even need to ask you. What do you got going for tonight for the clients?
Looking at the NBA, I released, I'll tell you now, so far, I gave out a tennis. Oh, that one already passed. And looking at Cleveland State, I like the Cleveland State side. It's just deciding whether the number is still bettable. I think it is right about now. I think it'll climb a little bit higher. Looked at the money line as well. Anything below 200, I think, is a decent number. They win the game 2 out of 3 times, I believe, easily against tonight's opponent. But I'm going to look at NBA, see if I could put a little card together. But no reason to ever force. Like I tell my subscribers, on Saturdays or Sundays, sometimes there's a lot of value, multiple markets. We're going to fire away. Some days it's slow. I'm not going to force a play. Fortunately, most of my guys are long-term guys. So I'm as far as putting up a package for a daily, unless I isolate like I did a nice 4% play, I'll usually just focus on subscribers and the long-term players.
There we go. Gianni The Greek, everyone. What a show. I'm Lawrence Presman. Shout out to Paul Motty, Pavlos, Bryan Leonard, Andy Lang, Gianni The Greek. Outstanding stuff. It's $5 Tuesday. Make sure to take advantage of that and pick a handicapper of your choice or two. Learn what they do, read their analysis, and let's all win together. On behalf of Dan Alexander and myself, Andy will be hosting the rest of the week. We'll see you again soon.